Hi guys, this is Julyzerg and I'm commentating on Game 3 of a best of 3 series between Nalra and Julyzerg. This is the deciding game with the score tied at 1-1, and this is in the MSL round of 16 to decide who the quarterfinalist is going to be. Nalra, in a great display, took the series by the horns and has leveled the score at 1-1 on Monty Hall. Though you have to feel aggrieved for Julyzerg. I did feel Julyzerg did come out a little bit with a disadvantage after that game. I do feel it was unfair that July lost that game because July successfully repelled Nada's 2-gateway rush on Monty Hall, and it was only because of the mineral lines and Nada's excellent positioning of the cannons, Nada's great use of the map imbalance to his advantage, that allowed him to catch up economically and therefore beat Julyzerg. But excuse me, this is GOM TV Loki. This is a much more open map, and we've seen some very interesting strategies on this map from Zerg players. We saw Savior earlier today making mincemeat of Stork when he tried to proxy rush him, and even though Savior was caught completely off guard, he still destroyed Stork's rush. So definitely a rush on this map is not going to have a great chance of success by Protoss. And the same thing happened to Oversky, to TT Shine when he tried to rush Oversky. So I wouldn't be going for a rush here. I do feel both players need to fast expand. But Nalra looks like he's going for a more traditional build. Nalra looks like he's going for a more traditional build this time. He's planted that gateway, and it looks like he's going to be playing a much more traditional build. Nalra, of course, playing Protoss at the 2 o'clock base, and Julyzerg playing Zerg at the 8 o'clock base. And July has started his spawning pool first again, so I really hope he's not trying to go for another rush against Nalra this time. His Overlord is over there to scout. Nalra's probe is coming out, and Nalra has built a second gateway. Nalra with his second gateway now, so it definitely looks like Nalra is going to be rushing, and I'm not sure about that. I really don't know if that's a good idea, considering how badly Stork with 3 gateways had trouble trying to rush against Savior, and he ended up losing badly to Savior in the end. Savior able to hold off that rush despite Stork being taken despite Savior being taken completely by surprise. July is not going to be surprised. He is going to have his Overlord in Nalra's base very soon, and he's going to know exactly what Nalra is doing, and he's going to be able to prepare for it. So I think this is a mistake by Nalra. This is a very all-in strategy. He's going to live or die by it. This is the 3rd game in a row that Nalra has chosen to use this strategy, and if he loses, he can only have himself to blame, because I don't see any reason why he has to go for that strategy. He did manage to beat July in a longer game in the last game, despite the fact that he went for the rush and it failed. I guess he feels that he did it the last time, he can try it again this time, but this is a much more open match. Should Nalra's rush fail, he's going to have a much harder time defending against July's retaliation. And July has got his first batch of Zerglings out already, and Nalra just defending the ramp. And Nalra has seen that July put up an early spawning pool, so Nalra knows that July's going to have Zerglings, that July's going to be ready for Nalra. And therefore, Nalra is not going to be able to attack straight away. And this is becoming a carbon copy of that matchup we saw on Python in Game 1 of this series between these 2 players, where July ended up making 3 hatcheries after Nalra called off his rush, and that was a big mistake by Nalra. And July has now planted his 3rd hatchery, so July is going for a 3-hatch build, and that's going to give him the economic advantage versus Nalra. And I feel Nalra has made a big mistake in going for this 2-gateway rush. He needs to do something to hurt July's economy, to slow him down or to push him back, otherwise he's going to be in serious trouble with July having 3 gas. And we've seen how devastating a 3-gas Zerg can be when we saw Gorush, who put in a very ordinary, mediocre performance against Nada, managed to destroy She-Sealed on this map earlier in the week. So Nalra definitely needs to do something, and Nalra looks like he's going to put down his expansion finally in the natural to the south of his base at 3 o'clock. But July, I would have to say, is ahead economically. Only July has been using his larvae to produce Zerglings, so he hasn't been producing drones, while Nalra has been constantly producing a stream of probes. And maybe the point of putting those 2 gateways was simply to try and pressure July into producing more Zerglings and not producing drones, and to hamper him economically. But I don't see how that's going to work out in Nalra's favor. Nalra and July's Zerglings and Zealots battling out in the middle of the map. Nalra microing those Zealots excellently, but he's going to find them surrounded now. He's going to find himself trapped with those Zealots, and he tries to sneak past into July's main, and July forces to present a united front with those Zerglings and defends well against Nalra. 2 of those Zealots get taken out, 1 remain, but that one's going to die as well. I would have to say at this point that I would have to give the advantage to July. He's got those 3 hatcheries, and all he needs to do is make a few drones, put down a Hydralisk Den, and take out Nalra like he did in the first game with a Hydralisk attack. Nalra isn't going to have much in order to be able to defend it, and Nalra cannot just sit back like he did in his previous game versus July. He can't just plant a couple of strategic cannons behind mineral lines and sit back and expand his economy and tech up and fight July on his terms, because July is going to be able to take the game to him, because this is not an island map and there are no mineral lines protecting Nalra. Excuse me, Nalra has taken that assimilator and started his cybernetic score. because he realizes that he is behind in tech to July and behind in economy as well. So therefore he needs to catch up, and he's just going to hope that he can hold out long enough to level that economic advantage. His expansion just coming into play now. July though has 2 expansions to Nalra's 1, and July also has 3 gas to Nalra's 2, but July hasn't taken the 3rd gas yet, and Nalra hasn't taken his 2nd gas yet either. At the same time, Nalra is very vulnerable to an air attack, and July could go for Mutalist like I suggested he should in the first game, but considering the fact that July went for all-out high risk, it's quite possible that he might do the same this time around. Nalra probably will find it easier to defend his ramp on this occasion, as he did in comparison to game 1, and July is going for the lair, so it does look like he's going to be going for a Spire versus Nalra, because he's gone for the lair. He hasn't yet built a high risk den, at least not one that I've seen, and Nalra now sending out another probe. Is he going to put down a 2nd expansion, or is he... It looks like he's going to actually send that probe out to scout. And Nalra with a Stargate up now, so he's going to be producing Corsairs from that very soon. And I guess the idea behind that is that he'll be able to scout July's base, he'll be able to establish air superiority, which is what helped him win the first game so emphatically. And July now has put up a Hydralisk den as well as a Spire. So July with a den and a Spire up in his base, both of them simultaneously, and that perplexes me somewhat. It looks like he's going for neither one nor the other completely, but going for a mixed strategy, and it doesn't make complete sense to me. I don't understand why he's trying to do that. But July has blocked off his ramp very brilliantly with a drone, stopping Nalra's from probe to get up that ramp and try and scout him, and he brings off the Zerglings to finish up that probe. So that was good play by July, and he spotted that probe on its way and blocked the ramp. So July's got his hardest done up, he's got his Spire up. Nalra doesn't know what July is going for. His attempt to scout with that probe was thwarted by July's blocking the ramp, but he's going to have his Corsair out soon, as he's going to be able to scout. And he's also built a Forge, because he's realized that in game 1 he needed those photon cannons and he didn't have them, and he put them up too late. So Nalra, in anticipation, because he doesn't know what July's tech is, in anticipation he has gone for a Forge to try and counter the fact that July might be going for Mutalisks, and he wants to have those cannons ready, because he does not know how fast July went for lair after his initial rush failed. And July very cleverly putting a sunken at his expansion, just in case Nalra tries to sneak by it and go into his main again. And July's Zergling is just sitting outside Nalra's natural, and Nalra now has all the scouting information he needs. He knows July has got 2 hatcheries, 2 expansions and 3 hatcheries, and he knows that July has got 3 gas. So he knows he has to do something to change the course of this game. Nalra needs to do something to even up the economic status of the game, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. And Nalra has actually put up a Citadel of Advent, so he should be able to build up those Templar archives very soon, and that's what he needs. If he's going to be able to hold out when July's attack eventually comes, he's going to need those high Templar, and I guess he's anticipating Mutalist from July, and he might make a couple of Archons early on from his high Templar to stop if July does go for Mutalisks. July though is going for kind of a mix and match. He's got a few Hydralisks out, he's also got a few Mutalisks out. I don't think those Mutalisks are going to be very effective, because Nalra is starting to put cannons out in his expansion. He's also got cannons out in his main. He's got 2 cannons in his main, and it looked like he was putting down cannons in his expansion as well. So Nalra, July's, and he's got 3 cannons in his expansion, so July's Mutalisks are not going to be very effective at harassing Nalra's economy, because he's got cannons everywhere defending them. And so this might be not a great investment of resources by July, and he might be allowing Nalra back into this game by virtue of not making a committed attack at Nalra. So I'm not exactly sure what July is trying to do here. Nalra has got a few crosshairs up, so he's going to be able to defend his base with the help of those cannons, and July's Mutalist forced back. So